Okay, so in the first video, which I'll put a link for you on the screen now in case you missed it, I went through the basic reasons why the pen romance is my favorite in my time at Sandrock. So now I wanted to take some time to dive into the flirting lead up, as well as the actual romance quest in detail, kind of like I did for a lot of my BG3 videos where I just kind of break the whole thing down. There will be spoilers, so if you don't want it ruined, you might want to skip out on this video until you've played it yourself. So let's get started. The first opportunity you have to straight up flirt with Pen is during the very first mirror quest, which is called Who's the Muscliest of Them All, an obvious reference to Mirror Mirror on the Wall, who's the fairest of them all, but this is Pen we're talking about, so he's obviously more concerned with muscles. You get this quest after completing the main story mission, Operation Degiglate, and you must have an intermediate work table built for the quest to trigger. During the quest, you'll show up at the church dorm to overhear Pen yelling at someone or something, and eventually hear glass breaking. He comes out to find you standing there, and it's funny because he makes some comments about how you're skulking around outside his room, hoping you'll get a chance to check him out, which isn't entirely wrong in my case. So during this point in the quest, you actually get a chance to flirt with him for the first time. I honestly wish there were more flirts because it seems like the characters you can romance get way more opportunities. But in Pen's case, there are only 2 options to flirt in the entire game. I'll just go ahead and play the scene for you, and I'll talk about it afterwards.
Oh, well, if it isn't my goodish friend, Skinny Arms, skulking outside my chamber door on the off chance you might bask in my stout-hearted, rock-ribbed emanations, no doubt. Well, today is your lucky day. Aha, just me, myself, and I, Skinny. What's with the 3rd degree? Ah, Skinny. I can't hide it any longer. As the Sandrocker I respect the most, and whose demeanor is also the most pen-like in disposition, perhaps it would ease my heart to confess to you. You see, I was action-rolling over to my mirror after finishing my new 10,000 squat routine to check my post-workout pump, when I discovered, to a mix of glee and horror, my muscles are now too burgeoning to be contained by the surface area of my mirror. And in my moment of despair and anger, I killed it. My mirror. I broke my mirror, Skinny. I smashed it to 1,000 pieces. You must understand these muscles, this perfectly crafted form. They do not come cheap or easy. No, they need constant care and attention. People have labeled my physique quantum musculature, as only through observation does it take a defined shape. But I digress. The undeniable truth is, my gains have been exceptional lately. Look at my pecs. No, I mean really look at them. Outstanding. I mean, it's amazing they fit anywhere. Oh-ho! It seems then you understand the urgency of the situation. So, without a full and complete view of my body, I cannot truly know whether or not I've maintained my expected level of perfection. I need vision. I need a true view of my developments. Eyes up here, Skinny. So, without a full and complete view of my body, I cannot truly know whether or not I've maintained my expected level of perfection. I need vision. I need a true view of my developments. Hey, buy me dinner first, will ya? A bold move, though, Skinny. Dig that mindset. But hark, let us save our caressing for a date sometime after I have solved this conundrum of mine. A larger mirror. Oh, but why stop there? Not just larger, better, faster, stronger. The most advanced mirror known to man. Yes. But a pinnacle of scientific achievement such as this, you'd only be able to build something so advanced with the assistance of the research guy. Oh, yeah. It's all coming together. All right, Skinny. Here's the plan. You run over to the research guy's house and order up an extra jumbo high-tech mirror. Meanwhile, I'll sit around and wait for you to build it. Can you handle this for your protector? The ever-reliable Skinny Arms. I knew you wouldn't let me down. Off to the research building then. Chop chop. My muscles aren't going to gawk at themselves, you know.
Basically, Penn is talking about how he's gotten so ripped that his physique no longer fit in his mirror. He got upset and broke the mirror. He goes on for a bit about how amazing his quantum musculature is, and then finally you have the option to tell him that his pecs are magnificent, which I was all too ready to select. The best path seems to be picking that they're indeed magnificent. Then when the next dialogue pops up, you can actually pick, sorry, did you say something? Your pecs, ... which gives one of my favorite responses, with him saying, eyes up here, Skinny. It then loops back to the original Flirt again, where you can ask if he wants you to caress him. I feel like this was a bad translation because it doesn't seem to feel right in context. Like you're just coming right out and saying, hey, you want me to feel you up? It's a bit forward, even for me. I think it was supposed to be something more along the lines of like, hey, since you don't have a mirror, I could just feel your muscles for you and then tell you what they look like or feel like, or I don't know. But given I basically come off as some drooling fangirl here, I think his response is pretty funny, where he's like, wow, buy me dinner first. But he's obviously showing a bit of interest too. Even though he kind of brushes you off, he's not completely averse to the idea, at least, saying once his mirror problem is fixed, maybe then there can be some time for caressing. So after that, there's nothing Flirt specific until his actual romance confession, even though there is more to the mirror quest and there are a bunch of other pen quests too. They're not really romance specific, so I'm not going to include them here because we just want all the flirty romantic goodness for this video. Now, sadly, unlike many of the other romantic options in the game, Penn does not have a reverse confession. I really wish he did, because otherwise I don't see what the point of showing your interest is during the flirt scenes. I mean, maybe it just makes it easier for them to accept your confession. To be honest, I've never had Penn deny my heart knot, but it still made me wonder if maybe at some point they were considering adding a reverse confession for him. I really hope that they do eventually, because that would just, give you a little bit more content. Now, in order to confess to Penn, you have to do some legwork with the main storyline, which kind of sucks because it's basically story-gated. So first things first, in order to gift a heart knot, which you can buy from Arvio's store, Penn has to be at friend status or at least 400 points. That's easy enough to do, and technically once you reach this, you can give Penn the heart knot and he will accept it. The problem is that if you don't have Paradise Lost unlocked, which is where Penn's romance quest takes place, then you won't actually get the quest when you confess. Paradise Lost unlocks after the main story quest, Paradise Lost and Found, so once you've finished that quest, you can confess to Penn without any issues. I'm not sure if you'll automatically get the quest if, let's say, you goofed up and confessed to him before unlocking that part of the story. I personally didn't want to risk it, so I simply reloaded my save and waited until after I cleared it. There's a lot to Penn's romance quest, so I'll break it down into chunks. The first part is obviously the confession, and what's cool is that you can actually ask him in a bunch of different places or ways. Like, you can just give it to him as a regular gift, and he'll just kind of stand there. Or you can give it to him while you're eating out at the Blue Moon, or even sitting on the bench by the Oasis. I haven't tried giving it to him elsewhere, but I'm sure there's probably other scenes for it too. Regardless of where you choose to confess, I kind of like the normal gift way because you actually get to see his animations during the default one. So let's take a look at it.
You know what, Skinny? I have actually been giving it some thought, and the way you're always complimenting me, giving me gifts, running around town and doing stuff for me, I feel like I may have finally found someone who truly loves me as much as I do. Wow, this is all happening so fast. Tell you what though, Skinny. There's something I need to know before we take this any further. I need to know if this is all really for real or not. Surely you understand. I am quite the prize. I can't take myself off the market just to become arm candy for you to show off at your little Buildy Guild Awards or whatever it is. No, what I desire is true love. And I need to know that my attraction to you is more than just skin deep as well. That's right, Skinny. All this time, me calling you Skinny Arms, the truth is, I've always found your supple biceps to be simply enchanting, from the moment I first set eyes on them. Therefore, we must test our chemistry in the only way I know how. On the battlefield. Adrenaline pumping, sweat flowing, blood spilling, chest hairs and more, all on brilliant display. Indeed, the only way to truly know someone is to fight by their side. Well, Skinny, I'm a professional. I just wasn't thinking of it that way at the time. That was all platonic warfare. This time, let's do it for real. Meet me tomorrow night at the entrance to Paradise Lost. Let us dance together a tango of destruction as we lay waste to any impudent machine foolhardy enough to rear us their bolty behinds. Off I go. Wear something that shows off those arms of yours. Huzzah for romance!
I love how the first thing he says starts off sounding all sweet and then turns into, I finally found someone who loves me as much as I do. It had me cracking up. But then you can't deny it's pretty cute how he's all excited about it. Like, wow, this is all happening so fast. And even though I touched on this in my last video, I still have to talk about it here again, because what really caught me off guard about Penn was how he does seem so superficial, but then he's compelled to find out if the relationship the two of you have, well, if it's actually real or if it's just only skin deep. Just how many of us probably thought Penn was to begin with. He doesn't just want to be shown off like arm candy at your Buildy Guild Awards. No, he wants true love. This whole scene really took me by surprise. I just didn't see it coming. I mean, I liked Penn, even if he was a bit of, a narcissist. I went into confessing to him knowing full well what I was getting myself into, or so I thought anyway, but I never expected this. I didn't expect that he would want more than that. It started to make me see him in a whole new light, as though he wasn't really who he seemed to be, but was someone deeper and more thoughtful, which was a scary thing when you consider that we're talking about Penn, who seems on the surface like he would never be either of those things. And what's even more shocking is when he compliments our arms. He calls them supple arms. No. This man has spent the entire game picking on our arms, asking how we smash rocks all day and still have pitiful biceps.
How do you smash rocks all day and still have biceps like that?
And now we find out he actually has the hots for those same arms? Talk about having your head thrown for a loop. So how does he propose that we test this attraction? How do we prove this romance is not just superficial? Well, on the battlefield, of course, because how else would Penn want to prove the bonds of your relationship? I can't deny his logic either, because he says you can't truly know someone until you fight by their side. It's funny, though, because we technically have fought with Penn before, especially during training and the masterclass quest, but he is all excuses about that, saying, oh, that was just platonic warfare. So the plan is to meet him at Paradise Lost and to beat the crap out of some robots. I love how he ends it with all of that excitement too, telling us to wear something that shows off our arms and even the huzzah for romance, which was adorable. Now you just need to meet him the next night at 1800 at the gate to Paradise Lost. Let me play you the little intro clip that plays when you get there.
Ah, Skinny, you're finally here. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. Somehow the last hours have been simply unbearable. Let us waste no more time, and waste only the enemies that stand before us. Onward, Skinny! Fight towards the epicenter of this robotic plague. Let us send them back to the corrupted age from whence they were born.
So he is definitely enthusiastic, talking about how the last hours were crawling by given he was so impatiently waiting for this date of ours. Now, you're supposed to fight through the robots, and there's some really good dialogue here, like the infamous "work those thighs, Skinny." So I like to just run through and kill all the robots in the hopes that I will hear some of the funnier lines. Once you get to the entrance, another scene will play.
Skinny, this is even better than I thought. The two of us fighting side by side, each step in tandem as we are soon to become lovers. My heart races. More. I need more. Let us press forward.
So Penn is definitely a little bit excited here. I do really like the choice of wording because it comes off a little, well, adult compared to the more innocent lines a lot of the other romances use. He legit just comes right out and talks about how you're soon to become lovers, and there is so much more innuendo during this quest that it's why I say Penn's romance is just way more suited to someone looking for a little smut in their relationship. Like, it's just pretty blatant. And they do say that there is a neurological link between
Skinny
and violence, so it isn't completely off that fighting all of these robots is getting Penn a little flustered. So once you head inside, you basically kill a bunch of robots together, and once they're all dead, you're treated with something special. Let me play the clip for you.
Amazing, Skinny! We've made short work of our adversaries. The only thing that could make this any better now is... Yes! Perfect timing! A boss fight! Let's go, Skinny! Lay into this creature with all your might! Show no mercy!
For any gaming nerd, this quest is just perfect. I mean, seriously, there is nothing that could make this date better than a frickin' boss fight. It brings me back to the days of old school Zelda. No dungeon is complete without a boss battle at the end, and that's exactly what we get here. And Penn's excitement is basically echoing mine at this point. The fight is actually pretty hard too, or at least it was at this point in the game for me, where I was barely level 20. If you don't pay attention, it can kill you pretty quickly. So I mostly let Penn tank it for me and just, throw in some shots once in a while. Once you beat the boss monster, you're treated to another scene.
Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. Was that good for you, Skinny? It was good for me. Wait, don't answer. There's one more thing I must do to complete this moment.
So Penn is breathless, coming down from the battle. The funny thing is that this entire scene is like pure innuendo once again, even down to how out of breath he is, like he was just partaking in, some activities. And then he even asks, "Was that good for you?" "It was good for me." You can't help but laugh, but it's not over yet. This next scene is one of the best.
Rip this one's head off. This one's soft enough to be a cushion. And... voila! A throne, Skinny. A throne for two. Composed entirely of our fallen enemies, deserving only the buttocks of royalty such as ourselves. Take your rightful place, Skinny, and let us seal our new romance with a lover's kiss. Baby, don't spoil the mood. Why think about others now? All that matters is me and me. Yeah, of course, Skinny. I'm just so lost in those arms of yours.
So, after asking how Skinny feels about their quote-unquote boss fight, he then proceeds to cut you off and says he has to do something first. And this is one of my favorite parts right here. The screen goes black and he makes a robot love couch. What? I was cracking up when I saw this the first time. I mean, he literally makes a couch from the fallen bodies of your robot enemies. And what's really cool is even how he mentions that it's only fit for the two of you to sit in. This is basically the turning point where Penn stops focusing on just himself all the time and instead includes the builder as a part of his one-man, now two-man show, which becomes a world where he now considers you on probably mostly equal footing as him. Something I'm sure a lot of people who don't like Penn, yes. I don't know how people couldn't like him, but those people do actually exist. And it kind of breaks my heart that they can't be bothered to give him a chance. But alas, that's why I'm making these videos, because the world needs to know how glorious Penn truly is. But I digress. I'll get into more of how Penn truly cares for the builder in another video. For now, we need to get through this romance scene without me getting, too far off topic. So from here, he wants to seal your new romance with a kiss. Not just any kiss, but a lover's kiss. And I do love the way he says lover's kiss. From here, you can pick a bunch of options. Like you can ask, how many of these thrones has he built? And his response is pretty funny, calling you baby, asking you not to spoil the mood. I know some people get hung up on the idea that he made that couch so effortlessly that he must have done it a million times before. I personally don't prescribe to that logic because I very seriously doubt he would have been around many who could handle their own alongside him in battle, But what's funny is how he's like, all that matters is me and me. What was I just saying about how it was a two-man show? I did say probably, not 100%. But anyways. And you can say, you mean me and you? To which he says he's just so lost in those arms of yours. You can also tell him that you're having second thoughts, which won't end the chance to kiss him and seal the deal, but will definitely reward some funny dialogue.
And let us seal our new romance. Second thoughts? What? Don't be such a tease, Skinny. You've brought me down into these ruins. My blood is boiling, and you want to back out now?
Poor guy. His blood is boiling, and Skinny is just teasing the ever-loving hell out of him. So from here, you can get the actual romance cinema, which is pretty dang awesome. So let me play that.
Come here, you. As I always dreamed, our coupling has been nothing short of glorious.
This is probably one of the steamiest kissing scenes in the game, and I know everyone likes the Logan one, but I wasn't really impressed with it compared to this. I mean, the Logan one feels kind of bumbling, whereas Penn is just smooth and debonair here, sweeping you off your feet into that robot love couch and not hesitating to kiss you. I also think it's interesting to note here that Penn actually says that your coupling is just as he's always dreamed it would be, which to me says he's thought about you for quite a long time, that he'd crushed on you enough to actually fantasize about what it might be like to kiss you. I personally like that touch to the romance. Afterwards, there's a bit more dialogue, where a still very excited and squeaky-voiced Penn is going on and on about how delighted he is to be with the builder. I'm gonna just play it real quick.
It's official then, Skinny. We are now a thing. I bellow it loud for the whole world to hear. I love skinny arms. Yes. Now that I've felt our hearts rage together, intertwined and soldered by the fiery thrill of combat, I have no doubts in my mind that our love is true, and our physical infatuation's just a nice little cherry on top. A hot, tasty cherry. I'm afraid this moment cannot last forever. We must return to the hustle and bustle of city life. But let us always remember this place, our lover's cocoon where, for one brief evening, the world was ours.
So he's even going as far as to say that he's in love, but his lines here are really good. Like, I love how verbose Pen is and how he describes the date as your hearts raging together, intertwined and soldered by the fiery thrill of combat. It's actually pretty romantic in my opinion, and he doubles down saying he's convinced that what the two of you have is indeed true love, and that your physical attraction is, just the hot, tasty cherry on top, which I just absolutely love this line. I mean, the hot, tasty cherry. Best Pen line ever. Afterwards, you unlock being able to hug and kiss, and once you exit out of that, there is one more farewell outside of the ruins.
Goodbye, my love. Expect to see me again soon. I'll swing by your place later for a major makeout sesh.
I love the way he says, my love. It's so freaking sweet, and I also love how he says he's going to stop by for a major makeout sesh. I kind of wish they had added this as another quest because it would have been awesome. But yeah, that is the whole romance quest line with Pen. What's best is that after this quest, you actually get the plans to make the robot love couch and can put the furniture in your home, which of course I did. If you build the couch and you gift it to him, you actually get a really awesome dialogue, where he recalls, the romance quest.
Uh-huh.
There's also a bunch of new romance dialogue, but a lot of it isn't voiced, even though there is audio dialogue available in the game files. I can only figure that one day they're going to add it, but I do really want to do another video going over all of that romance-specific dialogue and let you guys hear the audio for it as well. It's just going to be way too much to fit into one video, and this video is already pretty dang long. So, what do you guys think? Does this whole quest line make you see Pen in a new light? Are we hating on him less? Are we maybe thinking about giving him a romantic chance? And for those who have left comments about the direction this romance eventually takes, well, believe me, I already know about it, and I have quite a lot to say about it. But that will be for a later video that will obviously be laden with heavy story spoilers. I also have to do quite a lot of work collecting clips just to talk about it all. But it will happen eventually as I find the time. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all later.